Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be using our Ninja Creami to make a high protein sugarless root beer float. So you ready? Let's get into this. For this recipe we need egg yolks, a little bit of Kroger Carbmaster Milk, some Dymatized hydrolyzed vanilla whey protein. This is a little bit different from other whey proteins. This particular version is super low in cholesterol, which is a big plus. Also, we've got our monk fruit sweetener, a little bit of vanilla extract, and some zero sugar A&W root beer. If you'd like to make this recipe, all the ingredients and measurements are down in the description of the video, along with the calorie count, the protein, the carbs, and the fat. To start off, we're going to take a medium-sized mixing bowl, and then we're going to put in our egg yolks. Next, we're going to go ahead and use a whisk, and just whisk these up until they get nice and smooth. You'll probably have to whisk these for about a minute to get them that way. You'll be able to tell when they're ready because the color will start to lighten up and they'll stay really consistent when you pour them around in here. And once it looks like this, we're ready for our next step. Next, we'll add in the monk fruit sweetener. And you're going to want to stir that in also until you don't see any little white granule bits of that sweetener anywhere in there. Get combined really well. Next, we can add our vanilla extract, mix it in, add our Kroger Carbmaster Milk, mix that in as well until it's completely combined, and then we can add in our whey protein. The Dymatize mixes really well, but most whey proteins tend to clump a little bit, so the best thing to do is just add a little bit at a time, mix it in really good, add some more, so on and so forth. So we'll add a little in there. Start mixing this up, and we're going to wait until we've got this combined as well as we can, and then we're going to add a little bit more. If you can't get it to blend completely, don't worry too much about it because it's going to combine a lot more on the stove, and also when you put it in the Creami after it's frozen, it's going to kind of blend that up again. So don't stress about that too much. Once you've got that combined, you can pour it into a medium saucepan, and we're going to heat this on medium heat until it gets to about 180 degrees. You'll make it a lot easier on yourself if you get yourself a digital thermometer. Just be sure to stir this occasionally so it doesn't burn on the sides of the pan or anything like that. Once this reaches about 180 degrees, you can take this off the heat. At this point, we can either pour it into a clean mixing bowl and cool it in the refrigerator, or we can pour it directly into the Creami pints. In our case, we're just going to pour this right into the pint. So we'll go ahead and pour this in, making sure that we don't fill the container past the scoopable max fill line. If you cooled this in the refrigerator first and then poured it in, at this point we can go ahead and throw the lid on, and we can put it in the freezer overnight. You're going to want to let it freeze for a full 24 hours and make sure it's nice and solid. If you poured it straight in here like I did, we're going to leave the lid off for now, and we're going to stick it in the freezer just like that. We'll let it sit in here for about 30 to 45 minutes to cool down before we put the lid on. That way we don't have a bunch of ice crystals forming in here.
2,000 years later.
Once it's been 24 hours, we can remove our Creami pint from the freezer and we'll be ready to process. One thing about these Creami pints, you usually have better results if you let this sit out for about 20 minutes before you process it. If you don't and you run the temperatures on your freezer really low, then you can end up with sort of granule ice cream and you end up having to respin it. Letting that set out and soften just a little bit will alleviate that problem most of the time. If you don't want to do that, it still works out because you can fix it with respins. And it does take a lot less time to fix it that way than it does letting it set out. So we'll put this in our Creami pitcher, throw on the lid, lock it closed, turn on your Ninja Creami, install the pitcher and lock it into place. And then we'll determine how much of this we want to process. In our case, we're going to want to do the full thing. Since we're not using actual sugar and we have low fat content, we're going to put this on light ice cream and we'll go ahead and start it up. By the way, if this is your first time here and you want to learn some cool new recipes, get some great cooking tips and tricks and all sorts of other kitchen related things, then start now by subscribing to the channel and clicking the notification bell so you never miss a thing. Okay, let's check our result. Well, as you can see, that's got that granule thing we were talking about. So we're gonna go ahead and fix that. And the way we're gonna fix that is by adding just a tiny bit of extra Carbmaster milk on top of here. Don't put too much in there, otherwise you're gonna make it too soft. Just enough to get it wet enough to get this a little bit better. So we throw a lid back on, and we're gonna do a respin. And all you gotta do to do that is make all the same selections here. Leave that back on light ice cream again. And instead of hitting start, we're gonna hit respin right there. Okay, round 2. Let's check this out again. And that looks way better. See, I bet you didn't believe me. Now we can go ahead and make our float. If we were to put the ice cream in here and then just pour the A&W root beer over the top, then we'd end up with that big head on the top, and then you wouldn't actually be able to pour a lot of root beer in there, and you'd have to wait for it to go down. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pour a little bit of the root beer in first, then we'll put some ice cream on top of it, and then we'll top it off with this again, and that should make it a little bit easier. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about Joe's Phenomenal, you can watch a couple more videos, or you can check us out online at joesphenomenal.com. You know, root beer floats really bring back a lot of great childhood memories for me. But root beer is not the only thing you can use in a float. There's Coke and all kinds of other things you can use in there as well. Let me know down in the comments what your favorite float flavor is and the last time you had it. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about the Ninja Creami Deluxe that we used in this video, we do have an Amazon affiliate link to it down in the description of the video. If you buy anything through those links, we do make a small commission, but it doesn't affect the price that you pay 1 cent. I thank you so much for taking a little bit of time out of your day to watch this video. It really means a lot to me, and I can't wait to see you back again really soon. So until that time, I'm Joe, and I hope you have a phenomenal day. Take it easy.